In the heart of a quiet town, nestled between tall trees and winding paths, there was a small cottage. The air was fresh, and the night was calm. As the clock struck midnight, a soft glow lit up the sky, coming from a bright full moon. The villagers always spoke of the enchanted forest that lay just beyond the hills, a place where dreams came to life. Tonight, the young girl Lily decided to venture into the forest to see the magic for herself. With a soft breeze in the air, she stepped outside, her heart racing with excitement. Lily had heard many tales from the old folks in town about the forest. They spoke of glowing creatures and whispering trees that could guide travelers to hidden wonders. But tonight it felt different. The moon was shining brighter than ever, and the forest seemed to call out to her. With each step she took, the shadows of the trees stretched long and mysterious, but Lily wasn't afraid. She was curious, and curiosity had always been her guide. The night was still, and only the sound of her footsteps echoed through the woods. As she ventured deeper, the trees began to thin, and a soft mist settled around her feet. The moonlight filtered through the branches, casting a silvery glow on the path ahead. Lily could feel something magical in the air, as if the forest was alive and watching her. It wasn't long before she found herself standing at the edge of a small clearing, where the grass shimmered in the moonlight. At the center of the clearing stood an old stone well, its surface covered in ivy and moss. Curious, Lily approached the well and peered into its depths. The water inside was clear and calm, reflecting the moonlight perfectly. It was then that she noticed a small, delicate flower blooming at the edge of the well. The flower glowed faintly, as if it were made of stardust. She reached down to touch it, and as her fingers brushed against the petals, a soft breeze picked up, rustling the leaves around her. It felt like the forest was welcoming her, inviting her to explore even further. As Lily stood up, she heard a soft whisper in the wind. The trees around her seemed to speak, their branches swaying in rhythm with the breeze. At first, she thought it was just her imagination, but the whispers grew louder. The voices weren't frightening instead. They sounded soothing, like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. Lily closed her eyes, listening intently. The voices spoke of a hidden place deep within the forest, where dreams were born. It was a place no one had ever dared to find. Intrigued, Lily decided to follow the whispers. They seemed to guide her, leading her deeper into the woods. With every step, the path grew darker, but the soft glow of the moonlit mist kept her going. The air grew cooler, and the scent of pine filled her lungs. She felt a sense of calm wash over her, as if the forest had become a part of her. With each passing moment, she felt herself growing closer to the heart of the forest, where the greatest magic awaited. After walking for what seemed like hours, Lily finally reached a secluded glade. The trees parted to reveal a breathtaking sight, a vast meadow blanketed in soft moss and illuminated by 1,000 fireflies. In the center of the meadow was a crystal-clear pond, its surface still and reflective. The air was thick with magic, and Lily felt as though she had stepped into another world. She approached the pond and knelt by its edge, gazing into the water. To her surprise, the reflection in the pond wasn't her own. Instead, she saw the image of an ancient tree with branches stretching far into the sky, its bark glowing with an ethereal light. The tree seemed familiar, almost as if it had been waiting for her. The whispers of the forest grew louder in her ears, urging her to find the tree and unlock its secrets. With a sense of purpose, Lily stood up, ready to continue her journey. The path to the ancient tree was shrouded in mist, and Lily could barely make out the shape of the tree in the distance. The whispers grew fainter, but she felt an undeniable pull guiding her forward. As she walked closer, the air around her grew warmer, and the trees seemed to part in reverence. There, standing before her, was the great tree she had seen in the pond's reflection. Its bark shimmered with a soft golden hue, and its branches reached toward the heavens. As Lily reached out to touch the tree's trunk, a deep voice echoed in the air, reverberating through the ground beneath her. "Who seeks the heart of the forest?" the voice asked. Lily froze, unsure of what to say. The voice seemed to come from the tree itself, ancient and wise. She spoke softly, "I am Lily, and I seek the magic of this forest." There was a long silence before the voice responded. "Only those with a pure heart may enter," Lily nodded, feeling a sense of peace wash over her as she prepared to discover the tree's secrets. As Lily stood before the tree, she noticed something unusual. At the base of the tree, the roots were twisted and knotted, forming a spiral pattern that seemed to pulse with energy. She reached out and touched the roots, and immediately a surge of warmth flowed through her fingertips. The tree's magic seemed to awaken, and Lily could feel its ancient power surrounding her. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to be consumed by the energy. For a moment, it felt as if time had stopped. When she opened her eyes, the landscape around her had changed. The forest was no longer the same. It was vibrant and full of life, with flowers in full bloom and animals playfully darting through the trees. The ancient tree had transformed into a towering figure, its roots now extending into the ground like a vast network connecting the entire forest. Lily realized that she had unlocked the true heart of the forest. She had become part of its magic, and the journey was only just beginning. Lily stood in awe as the forest came to life around her. The trees seemed to whisper her name, and the ground beneath her feet felt alive with energy. From the shadows, a figure emerged, a tall, graceful being dressed in robes made of shimmering leaves and flowers. The figure approached Lily with a gentle smile, its eyes filled with wisdom. "I am the dream keeper," the figure said, its voice soft yet powerful. "You have unlocked the heart of the forest, and now you must learn its secrets." The dream keeper led Lily to a small, hidden grove where the air was thick with magic. In the center of the grove stood a glowing crystal, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. "This is the crystal of dreams," the dream keeper explained. "It holds the power to create and guide dreams. Only those with a pure heart can harness its power." Lily gazed at the crystal, feeling its warmth and energy. She knew that her journey had only just begun, and the dreamkeeper had much more to teach her. The dreamkeeper taught Lily how to connect with the crystal, guiding her through the steps to harness its energy. With each lesson, Lily grew stronger, her connection to the forest deepening. She could hear the heartbeat of the forest now, a rhythmic thumping that seemed to echo through the ground. It was as if the forest itself was alive, its pulse matching her own. The more she listened, the more she understood the delicate balance between the natural world and the dreams that shaped it. As Lily practiced, the magic of the forest seemed to seep into her very being. She could feel the dreams of the forest flowing through her, each one unique and beautiful. The dreamkeeper smiled as Lily's connection grew stronger. "You are ready," the dreamkeeper said. "The forest has chosen you to be its guardian. It is now your duty to protect its secrets and share its magic with those who are worthy." Lily nodded, accepting her new role with grace. She knew that her life had been forever changed, and the adventure was just beginning. One night, after a long day of learning from the Dreamkeeper, Lily found herself gazing up at the sky. The moon was full again, its silver light illuminating the forest. The stars seemed to dance around the moon, their soft glow a reminder of the magic that surrounded her. The Dreamkeeper had told her that the path to true understanding lay in the stars, and Lily knew that it was time to follow that path. With a sense of purpose, Lily walked through the forest, her feet barely making a sound on the soft moss beneath her. The trees parted as if guiding her, and the stars above seemed to twinkle just for her. She followed the path of the stars, feeling their pull, until she arrived at a clearing she had never seen before. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone circle, its surface etched with symbols of the forest. Lily stepped forward, her heart beating in time with the rhythm of the forest. It was here that her true journey would begin. Lily stepped cautiously into the stone circle, feeling an unexpected warmth emanating from the ancient rocks beneath her feet. Each stone was inscribed with delicate runes, glowing faintly in the moonlight. She reached out to touch one of the stones, and immediately, the runes seemed to pulse with life, as if responding to her presence. The Dreamkeeper's words echoed in her mind. The forest's secrets are locked within these stones, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Lily closed her eyes, concentrating on the stones, and she felt a shift in the air. A soft breeze began to swirl around her, and the stone circle started to hum with a gentle, melodic sound. The runes began to glow brighter, casting an ethereal light across the clearing. Slowly, the stones began to shift, revealing a hidden passage beneath them. The passage was narrow and winding, leading deep into the earth. Lily hesitated for a moment, but her curiosity pushed her forward. With each step into the darkness, the air grew cooler, and she could hear the sound of water trickling somewhere ahead. As Lily made her way through the passage, the air became damp and cool. The narrow tunnel twisted and turned, but her feet seemed to instinctively guide her through it. Soon, the walls of the passage opened up into a vast underground cavern. In the center of the cavern was a crystal-clear lake, its surface perfectly still and reflecting the glow of the moon from above. The water shimmered with a soft, iridescent light, as if it contained the very essence of the forest's magic. Lily approached the edge of the lake and knelt beside it, gazing into the depths. She saw nothing but the calm, endless water. Yet there was something familiar about it, something that drew her in. As she reached out to touch the surface, a ripple spread across the lake, and she saw images begin to form in the water visions of the past, present, and future. The lake seemed to hold the memories of the forest itself. Lily knew that this was another piece of the puzzle, another step closer to understanding the forest's true power. The lake's surface began to ripple, forming images that shifted and changed like a mirror reflecting different moments in time. Lily's eyes widened as she saw scenes of the forest's ancient past, how it had grown and evolved over the centuries. She saw the Dreamkeeper, standing in the heart of the forest, watching over its magic for generations. Then, the image shifted, showing Lily herself, walking through the forest, learning its secrets. It was as if the lake had shown her the path she was destined to take. The images continued to change, showing both peaceful moments and times of conflict. Lily saw moments of great beauty, when the forest flourished, and others when it faced challenges, but it always found a way to restore balance. The lake seemed to show her that the forest's magic was not just about beauty and peace, it was about resilience, about finding harmony even in times of struggle. Lily understood now that her role was not only to protect the forest, but to ensure that balance was maintained. As the vision faded, Lily stood up, feeling a deep sense of responsibility. The Dreamkeeper had entrusted her with the forest's secrets, and now she understood the weight of that responsibility. She was not just a visitor in this magical world, she was a guardian, one of many who had come before her, and one who would protect the forest for generations to come. The Dreamkeeper had spoken of balance, and Lily now knew that her duty was to maintain that balance. With a sense of resolve, Lily left the underground lake and made her way back to the stone circle. She could hear the whispers of the forest once again, guiding her steps. The path ahead was not an easy one, but she was ready. The forest had chosen her, and she would honor its trust. As she walked, she felt the weight of her newfound role, but also the strength that came with it. She was no longer just a traveler in the forest, she was part of its very essence. The next day, as Lily walked through the forest, she could feel the weight of her new role as the guardian. The trees seemed to watch her closely, as if they knew what had transpired in the underground lake. She felt a sudden chill in the air, and the wind picked up, rustling the leaves around her. The whispers of the forest grew louder, and she knew that something was coming, something that would test her ability to protect the balance of the forest. It wasn't long before Lily came across a clearing where she saw a strange sight. A group of trees were withering, their leaves turning brown and curling at the edges. The air around them felt heavy, as if the life force of the forest was being drained. Lily knelt beside one of the trees and placed her hand on its trunk. She could feel the tree's pain, its struggle to survive. Something was wrong, and Lily knew that she had to find out what it was before the entire forest began to suffer. As Lily stood by the withering trees, she felt a dark presence lurking in the shadows of the forest. It was a presence unlike anything she had ever encountered before. The air grew colder, and the ground beneath her feet seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. The whispers of the forest had fallen silent, replaced by an eerie stillness. Lily's heart raced as she tried to sense what was happening. She had heard stories of a dark force that once threatened the forest, a force that had been sealed away long ago. But now, it seemed to be waking up. The ground trembled beneath her, and suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was tall and ominous, its form shifting and swirling like smoke. The figure's eyes glowed red, and Lily could feel the weight of its gaze upon her. "I am the darkness," the figure spoke, its voice low and menacing. "I have been sealed for centuries, but now I am free. The forest's magic belongs to me." Lily stepped back, her mind racing. She knew that this was the test she had been waiting for. She had to stop the darkness before it consumed everything. Lily stood her ground, feeling the full weight of her responsibility as the guardian of the forest. The darkness loomed before her, its presence oppressive and overwhelming. But as she took a deep breath, she remembered the lessons the Dreamkeeper had taught her. The forest's magic flowed within her, and she had the power to protect it. With this newfound strength, Lily reached out her hand, focusing on the energy of the forest that pulsed within her. She could feel the life force of the trees, the animals, and the very earth beneath her feet. As Lily focused, the air around her began to shimmer with light. The trees around her seemed to awaken, their branches reaching toward the sky as if in unison with her. The ground beneath her feet trembled with the forest's power. The darkness recoiled, its form flickering and weakening. "You cannot defeat me," the darkness hissed, but Lily's resolve was unshakable. "I am the guardian of the forest," she said, her voice steady. "And I will protect it with all my strength." With the darkness retreating, Lily felt a rush of energy from the forest, but the victory was short-lived. As the figure vanished into the shadows, she realized the forest had not fully healed. The sense of imbalance remained, a subtle but persistent presence. She knew there was more to uncover. Determined to restore the forest completely, Lily followed a path that had been hidden from her before, a narrow trail that led deeper into the heart of the forest. The further she walked, the denser the trees became. The air was thick with ancient magic, and the ground seemed to hum beneath her feet. Lily's heart quickened as she felt an overwhelming pull guiding her towards something hidden deep within the forest. After hours of walking, she found herself in front of an enormous, ancient tree. Its trunk was wide, its branches reaching high above the canopy. The tree radiated a quiet power, and Lily knew this was the heart of the forest, the source of all its magic. It was here that she would find the answers she sought. As Lily approached the ancient tree, a soft light began to emanate from its core. The whispers of the forest grew louder, as if the trees themselves were urging her to step closer. At the base of the tree, she found a stone pedestal with a glowing crystal resting on top. The Dreamkeeper's words echoed in her mind: "The heart of the forest is not just a place, it is a power. To protect it, you must understand it." Lily reached out to touch the crystal, and as her fingers brushed its surface, she was flooded with visions. She saw the Dreamkeeper standing in this very spot centuries ago, receiving a gift from the forest. The crystal she now held had once been his, a symbol of his bond with the forest's magic. It was a key to the ancient power that had kept the balance for generations. As Lily closed her eyes, she felt a surge of energy flow through her. She was being entrusted with the heart of the forest's power, and with it, the ability to protect the magic that sustained the forest and its creatures. With the crystal now in her possession, Lily felt more connected to the forest than ever before. However, her peace was short-lived. A heavy feeling hung in the air, and the forest seemed to be holding its breath. The wind picked up, and dark clouds began to gather above. Lily knew that something was coming, another test, perhaps one more dangerous than before. She felt a deep sense of urgency, as if the balance of the forest was on the verge of tipping. As the storm clouds gathered, she saw a figure emerge from the distance. It was not the darkness she had faced before, but something far older, an elemental spirit of the forest. The spirit, with its body made of swirling winds and crackling lightning, floated towards her. "You have claimed the heart," it said in a voice like thunder, "but you are not yet ready. The storm is the final trial. If you fail, the forest will fall into chaos." Lily steeled herself for what was to come, knowing that the trials were far from over. The elemental spirit loomed above Lily, and the storm around them grew stronger. Lightning flashed, illuminating the forest in harsh, blinding light. The spirit raised its arms, summoning the forces of nature. The wind howled and the rain began to pour in torrents. Trees bent under the strength of the gusts, and the ground beneath Lily's feet started to quake. The forest itself seemed to be reacting to the spirit's power, testing her resolve. Lily felt the pressure building around her, but instead of retreating, she stood tall. She reached out with the crystal, focusing on the energy it contained. The heart of the forest pulsed in her hands, and she could feel its power resonating with the very elements themselves. As the storm raged around her, Lily channeled the magic of the forest, calling upon the elements to work in harmony, not against her. The wind began to calm. The rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, and the earth steadied beneath her feet. The elemental spirit, seeing her strength, nodded in approval and vanished, leaving Lily victorious. With the storm subsiding, Lily felt a strange calm settle over the forest. It was as though the trees, the earth, and the very air had all exhaled in relief. Yet, as she walked deeper into the forest, she felt a presence, a whispering, ghostly presence that seemed to call her name. She soon realized she was not alone. Spirits of the forest, ancient and ethereal, appeared before her. They were the guardians of the forest's magic, beings who had existed long before humans had arrived. The spirits circled her, their voices soft but powerful. "You have proven yourself worthy," Lily, one of the spirits, said. "The heart of the forest is now yours to protect, but remember, the magic is not your own. It is the forest's magic, and you are merely its caretaker." Lily bowed her head, understanding the weight of her responsibility. The spirits, with their wisdom, shared with her ancient knowledge, teaching her how to communicate with the forest's creatures and how to maintain the delicate balance between the natural world and the magic that flowed through it. Just as Lily thought the forest was at peace, she felt a familiar, unsettling presence once again. The darkness was not gone, it had merely been hiding, waiting for the right moment to strike. Lily's heart sank as the ground began to tremble once more. She could feel the evil force gathering strength, seeking to claim the forest's power for itself. This time, the battle would be more difficult. The forest was still healing, and Lily was still learning how to fully wield the magic that had been entrusted to her. The wind shifted as the trees whispered in warning. The darkness was drawing near, and Lily knew she would have to face it once again. But this time she would not face it alone. With the spirits of the forest by her side and the power of the heart of the forest in her hands, she was ready for whatever came next. She could feel the power of the forest within her, and she would not let the darkness destroy what she had sworn to protect. The battle between Lily and the darkness was unlike any she had ever faced. The air crackled with energy as the two forces clashed. The ground beneath them trembled with every strike. The trees bent and swayed, their branches reaching out as if to aid her. Lily focused on the magic of the forest, calling upon the elements and the spirits to strengthen her. The darkness, a swirling mass of shadow and malice, fought back fiercely, seeking to consume everything in its path. For hours they battled, neither side giving way. But Lily knew that the key to defeating the darkness lay not in sheer strength, but in the balance of the forest's magic. As the battle raged on, she focused all her energy on restoring the balance, weaving the magic of the earth, the trees, and the water into a force strong enough to push back the darkness. With one final surge of power, she forced the darkness back into the depths from which it had come, sealing it away once again. The forest, though battered, was safe for now. With the darkness sealed away once more, Lily stood among the trees, breathing heavily but triumphant. The battle had been long and hard, but she had proven herself worthy of the heart of the forest. The spirits gathered around her, their faces filled with pride. "You have done it," one of the spirits said. "You have restored balance to the forest and protected its magic. The heart now belongs to you, and with it, the responsibility to care for this land for generations to come." Lily stood quietly, taking in the enormity of what she had just accomplished. The forest had changed her in ways she couldn't fully comprehend. She was no longer just a girl who had wandered into the forest seeking answers. She was its guardian, its protector. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light across the trees, Lily knew that her journey was far from over. The forest's magic was vast, and there would always be new mysteries to uncover. But for now, the balance had been restored, and the forest was at peace. Days passed, and Lily found herself more in tune with the forest than ever before. The trees no longer seemed like mere plants, they spoke to her, their leaves whispering secrets only she could understand. Every rustling breeze carried a message, every gust a warning. The winds of the forest had become her guide, but with it came an unsettling realization: the winds were carrying something far more ominous than they had before. Lily could feel the presence of something ancient, something dark, stirring in the far reaches of the forest. It was calling to her. One evening, as the moon cast its pale light over the forest, Lily heard the wind grow louder. It was a low, mournful sound, a voice that seemed both far away and close. Following the sound, Lily ventured deeper into the heart of the forest. There, in the shadows, stood an old, twisted tree, the source of the whispering winds. The tree was unlike any she had seen before. Its bark was blackened, its branches twisted like gnarled fingers. Lily could feel the presence of an ancient spirit within the tree. The wind was its voice, and it carried a warning: something dark was stirring once more, something that could threaten the balance of the forest. Determined to uncover the truth behind the ominous winds, Lily sought out the Dreamkeeper. She knew that the ancient guardian would have the knowledge she needed to understand what was happening in the forest. After days of searching, Lily finally found him, standing in the same sacred clearing where they had first met. His presence was calming, yet his eyes held a sadness she hadn't noticed before. "The winds carry the whispers of the forgotten realm," he said solemnly. "It is a place where the forest's deepest secrets are hidden. But it is also where the darkest powers lie dormant." Lily felt a chill run down her spine as she listened. The Forgotten Realm was a place of forbidden magic, a land where spirits of both light and darkness were trapped, their fates sealed by ancient rituals. "The winds have been disturbed," the Dreamkeeper continued. "Someone or something is trying to awaken that which should remain asleep." Lily's heart raced. If the Forgotten Realm was awakening, it could mean unimaginable danger for the forest and for the world beyond. She had to find a way to stop it. With the Dreamkeeper's guidance, Lily began her search for the key that could unlock the Forgotten Realm. She knew it wouldn't be easy. Such keys were not only rare, but often hidden away in the most dangerous corners of the world. The key she sought was said to be an ancient artifact, a pendant that had once belonged to the first guardian of the forest. It had the power to open the gateway to the Forgotten Realm, but only in the hands of one who truly understood the forest's magic. Lily's journey led her through dark caves filled with creatures she had never seen before, over mountains that seemed to pierce the sky, and into abandoned temples where the air was thick with forgotten spells. Every step brought her closer to the key, but also closer to the forces that sought to destroy everything she held dear. She knew she was being watched, but the closer she got to the pendant, the more she felt the weight of the forest's responsibility on her shoulders. The balance she had worked so hard to restore was at risk, and the key was the only way to stop the darkness from consuming everything. Lily finally reached the temple where the pendant was said to be hidden. As she stepped inside, the air grew cold, and the shadows seemed to stretch out, reaching toward her. The temple was filled with ancient inscriptions, and at the center stood a pedestal with a velvet cloth draped over it. Beneath the cloth lay the pendant, glowing faintly. But as Lily reached out to take it, a dark figure appeared from the shadows, a tall, cloaked being with glowing red eyes. It was the Keeper of Shadows, an ancient spirit bound to protect the pendant from those who were unworthy. You seek the key to the forgotten realm, the keeper said, his voice like a deep rumble. But you do not know the cost of such a choice. To open the realm is to risk your soul. Will you sacrifice yourself for the forest? Lily hesitated, but only for a moment. She had come this far, and the forest needed her. I will protect the forest, no matter the cost, she said firmly. The keeper regarded her for a long moment, then nodded, allowing her to take the pendant. But as she held it in her hands, a surge of dark energy coursed through her, and she knew that the true test had only just begun. With the pendant in her possession, Lily returned to the heart of the forest. The air around her seemed to pulse with energy as she approached the ancient tree. The wind howled again, louder than before, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Lily knew that activating the pendant would open the gateway to the forgotten realm, but she had no idea what awaited her on the other side. Taking a deep breath, she held the pendant aloft, focusing on the power of the heart of the forest. Slowly, the pendant began to glow, its light intensifying until the air around her crackled with magic. As the light reached its peak, a powerful force surged from the pendant, opening a rift in the air before her. The forest trembled, and the ground beneath her feet split open, revealing the dark depths of the forgotten realm. Lily stood at the threshold, staring into the abyss. Inside, she could feel the pull of the spirits trapped within, the dark powers that had been sealed away for centuries. She took a step forward, knowing that the fate of the forest and possibly the world depended on what she did next. Lily entered the forgotten realm, the air growing colder with each step. The landscape around her was twisted and unnatural, filled with shadowy figures and ominous forces. The realm was a place where light struggled to survive and darkness reigned supreme. As she ventured deeper, she could feel the weight of every trapped spirit, every ancient being who had been sealed away for their crimes. She knew she had to find the source of the darkness and stop it from spreading to the forest. At the heart of the realm, she found a throne made of blackened stone, and upon it sat a figure shrouded in shadow. It was the source of the darkness, a being as old as the forest itself, whose hunger for power had led to the creation of the forgotten realm. The being looked at her with eyes full of malice, but also curiosity. "You have come to challenge me, young guardian," it said, its voice like 1,000 whispers. "But you cannot defeat what you do not understand." Lily took a deep breath, holding the pendant tightly in her hand. She had no choice but to confront this dark being and restore the balance once and for all. The dark entity gazed at Lily with an unsettling calm, its eyes glowing brighter as it spoke. "You do not yet understand, child. The forest's magic is not just a force of nature, it is the very essence of this world. I am not a separate being, but a part of its creation, born from the same roots as the trees and the soil beneath your feet." The words echoed through Lily's mind, causing her to stumble. She had always believed the forest's magic was pure, a force of good. But now, standing before this dark being, she realized there was much more to the forest's history than she had ever known. As the entity spoke, Lily began to understand the gravity of her mission. The forest was not simply a place of life, it was also a balance of light and dark, each force necessary for the other's existence. The darkness, though twisted, was not an evil in itself, but a necessary part of the cycle. "You think I seek to destroy the forest," the entity continued, "but I am its true protector. Without me, the forest will wither and die. You are not its savior. Child, you are its destroyer." Lily felt a wave of doubt, but she quickly steeled herself. She had to make a choice. Would she accept this dark truth and allow the entity to continue its reign, or would she fight for the forest's future? As the years passed and the forest flourished, Lily stood as its steadfast protector, the guardian of its balance. The shadows no longer threatened, and the light never overwhelmed, for both now lived in harmony. The legacy of her courage and choice would endure for generations to come, whispered through the rustling leaves and carried on the wind. With every new dawn, the forest grew stronger, and so did its guardian. The battle may have been won, but the journey was far from over. As long as the forest stood, Lily's watch would continue, a quiet promise to preserve the delicate balance between light and darkness. Thank you for journeying with us through this tale of magic, mystery, and the unyielding fight for balance. May the whispers of the forest find their way to you, wherever you are. Until next time, may peace and harmony be your guiding lights.